So I just got back from watching Jeepers Creepers 3. I, like everyone else, have been waiting 14 years for this movie. They had been talking about it. They had been, talking about like, oh, we're going to make it. We're not going to make it. Maybe it's in a secret production. Maybe it's this. Then we got the announcement, Jeepers Creepers 3, Cathedral, cool poster. We were all excited. And it was like, oh, one night showing. And then the protest thing started happening. And I was like, okay, that's to be expected. And then it was finally like, all right, we're getting like this one night thing. And like I had to go and I had to do a lot of shit to go to this because I don't live in a place where these kinds of things play. So I had to drive like 2 hours to do this. I had to get someone like to, my girlfriend to watch the kids and a different movie in that theater and for her to go up with me, whatever. So like I did a lot to go see this movie because I've been waiting for it for a long time, like everyone else. And I was just like, okay, come on, like this should be fun. And oh my God. Like, if you're just watching this for this really quick, like, this movie is really fucking bad. Like, really, really fucking bad. And I don't say that lightly. I'm a pretty easy critic for the most part. But this is fucking horrible. I'm sorry. This movie, is there things about it that are okay? There are some. I'm not going to say this movie is complete trash from beginning to end. There are some elements that you could cherry pick out and be like, okay, that was kind of cool. Little stuff, tiny. Everything else is just fucking bad. Now, I'm going to talk spoilers from here on. But if you're thinking about going to see it, you can't now. And that's kind of like one of the first things I want to talk about is like, is this move on purpose? Like, let's show all this in one night. Every person I've talked to who has seen this movie now, I have a few friends that have seen this movie. Every one of them said that their theater was sold out. My theater was sold out. So this got a lot of buzz going. It sold out. Everywhere that I'm aware of was sold out. So I'm almost like, did they do this on purpose? Like, let's get as much money as we can from one showing. The word of mouth will kill us. So we won't have a second showing. I mean, they said that they're going to release it in like October 4th or something again. We'll see if that happens. Because this is almost like a genius plan of like, we have a shitty movie. How can we make money off of it? How can we capitalize on the name? If we put it out on DVD or Blu-ray, people will just torrent it when they hear how bad it is. So let's just make it a one-night engagement. Since there's all these protests, we'll kind of like play off of that. We'll put it out. Everyone will go. And they did. This movie fucking sold out. It had like extra showings, even though it wasn't supposed to have any. There was like a 710 and a 720 and stuff. And I heard that's what other people's theaters were doing too, to get other people in. But that's just enough time in between to where those guys who got out were going to go bitch about how bad it was. And those people, it's only 10 minutes later. They can't come out of the movie. It's not like they're going to run into the theater and be like, hey, get the fuck out of here. It'll only be 10 minutes left. They'd look over and be like, trust me, we know. We're well aware by this point. This movie is fucking terrible. So I almost have to believe this is like a strategy. Like, we have a shit movie. This reminded me, I had a buddy say this to me. And it was like, yes, that's perfect. Like, it's a perfect analogy. This felt like a sci-fi original. Like not a shark, I mean, yes, like that. But like, if sci-fi was to pick up Jeepers Creepers and they were to say like, okay, like, let's put a little money into it. But the CGI, the feel of the movie, there's fucking storyline, the lack of gore, the lack of anything that's interesting, the things that they add to this movie are insane. I said I was going to talk spoilers, so let's get into that. First, I want to talk about the truck. What the fuck is up with this truck? Like, all of a sudden, he turned it into the Batmobile from hell. Like, it's dropping bombs out of the back of it with the worst CGI, and it's like literally falling and like turning around. Like, when it fell out the back and it went past the car, I was like, that was stupid. But when it actually like stopped, skidded, and turned around and came back for them, like some heat-seeking missiles or something. But these look more like they were like critters or like something possessed, like alive, that they were coming after him. And a lot of things in this movie were like that. Like the Creeper's blade, all of a sudden, he's a Jedi. He can reach out and his fucking blade comes back to him. It lifts a body up off the ground and comes back to his hand. Like, it's been a little while since I've seen the other two, but I swear this shit does not even happen in those movies. I am almost positive. I'd have to go back, and I probably will go back and rewatch those, just kind of wash the taste out of my mouth. And this whole like addition of like the ricocheting off of the truck thing is so fucking stupid. Like every single fucking thing they throw at the truck comes back and hits him in the head. It was like a gag. It was like a joke. And like the guy shoots the tires like twice and each one of them comes back and almost hits him. Do you know what the odds are of a ricochet hitting you? You know how many different directions it can fly off at? And then he shoots the back of the window, and then they tell the guy, like, they're calling ahead. That's actually, like, a part of the movie. Like, they're calling ahead, like, there's a ricochet. Like, it ricochets off the car. Don't shoot at it. And so they shoot off of it, and it all just comes back at them. Like, the guy throws a rocket, hits him in the head. He shoots a tire. The tire ricochets back. Like, that is so fucking stupid. I can't say enough bad about the CGI. Now, I don't care about like bad CGI in a movie. If the movie was good and they had bad CGI, it would just kind of be like that tainted thing. Like as much as The Langoliers has horrendous CGI and it's not a great movie, I love it. And I can look past the terrible CGI, and that has the worst CGI of all time. So CGI doesn't matter. Like if it's got bad CGI, like I don't give a shit. That's not what's wrong with this movie. Everything is wrong with this movie. And let's talk about the gore. Oh wait, we can't because there isn't any. Every kill in this movie is done off screen. If you're going to do a movie like this, if you're going to fucking make a creature feature, if you're going to make something like this, make it have some kills on screen. If there's a kill on screen in this movie, I can't remember it. I legitimately can't remember it. In fact, I don't even remember him barely taking any parts from anybody. Like the whole mythos behind this character, like he takes apart. Like he kills that truck driver, and I'm guessing that's how he gets his eye back, obviously. But that's it. That's like the one scene. Like this is just pointless. But the gore, there's no gore. None. No fucking on-screen kills. Everything's off-screen. I'm baffled by that. The cathedral, like my theater actually said above the door, Jeepers Creepers 3, Cathedral. So I don't see that on the posters anywhere, but they did announce that as the official title. I don't remember, like a couple of years ago or something. So I don't know if that actually is the title. But because I missed like the first like 10 seconds of the movie, so I didn't get to see the Jeepers Creepers title card. I was just walking in as it started. This movie has nothing to do with Cathedral. Where the fuck they got that, I don't even understand. This is like another Blair Witch 2 Book of Shadows thing where it's like, there's no Book of Shadows in that movie. This movie has no cathedral, so I don't know what the fuck that comes from. But as I said, that might not be the title. But they did have it up on the thing in the theater, so I don't know. I don't understand that. This whole idea of like the myth, like the mythos that they added to in this movie, with like her grabbing onto the hand and it like floating her up into the sky. Like when that hand lifted her up and her feet came off the ground, my mouth was like, bleh. Like I was just like, this really happening right now? This is so fucking stupid. What are they thinking with this? This, like, I'm all about adding to the mythos, but this is just stupid. Like, the booby trap truck was awful. Just awful. And the fact that he falls for one of his own booby traps, like, you didn't know that was right there. You do. Like, you know all your stuff. And it didn't seem to register for him. The one in the door didn't seem to register for him, so why this one? I don't remember her like trying to reach over and grab anything that killed the first guy. So the fact that he like put himself in that position and this is like his baby truck, like what the fuck? My crowd was sold out, as I said. I haven't been to a movie where the crowd was laughing at the film. Not in the funny parts. The funny parts, it was silent, crickets. But scenes where it was trying to be like the scene where he falls down on his knees, there's so much slow-mo in this movie that's so unnecessary. But the fact, like, when he falls down to his knees and it's like, we know what you are. That's your ending for one? Like, really? You're not even going to tell us? Like, I remember reading in the trivia, like, oh, we're going to explore the history and the background. The only thing that we learned was it's ancient. Okay, I could have guessed that. Like, really? That's all we get to know? You don't get to show us the flashbacks of what you saw? Like, what the fuck? Where is it? Like, what did we learn? What did we learn from this movie? Like, I'll say a couple good things. I mean, might as well while I'm bitching. I like that it was set in between 1 and 2. I thought that was cool. I liked that almost the entire film was shot during the day. You almost never see that in horror. So it's kind of like, oh, that's cool. They showed it, during the day. But it makes me wonder if they didn't have the budget to shoot at night. So they just utilize the day. Like, okay, we got the sun. Let's shoot in the sun because we don't have the fucking equipment to light everything at night. I really wonder. I know that the second one was a lot of it was during the day, but it was weird to be in the theater. Like there was a few times where I literally put my head in my thing and I was like looking like around, like, is this gonna? I swear to God, it's a true story. There was a guy in front of me who had his cell phone out, and I usually hate that. I mean, I'm like, what the fuck? Put your phone away. But I was genuinely looking at his phone while the movie was happening for like a good 30 seconds, hoping that something interesting was going to happen on his phone. Like he was going to be texting some girl and she was going to send him a nudie, or like he was going to be like looking at a funny meme or something. Like I was like praying, like, please, something interesting happen while I'm in this fucking theater. It was so bizarre to be like, I haven't been in a movie like this in so long. Like this is not a theater release. This is an insult to being a theater release movie. I don't rave about movies being bad much. I really don't. But I know people are like, I know movies have gotten so expensive. In New York, they're like $20. I had to drive hours to see this. This is not a fucking theater quality movie. This is not a movie that should be in the theater. Like, you want to release this shit on DVD and Blu-ray, that's fine. I mean, you have every right to release whatever the fuck you want whenever. But, man, we deserve so much better than this. I mean, 14 fucking years, and this is what you came up with? Like, this is what you came up with? This is what you wrote? Like, I don't understand the additions. Like, that thing that came out of the back of the truck, like the harpoon gun that seemed to be, like, chasing them, basically, and hit them from, like, fucking 1,000 yards away. What the fuck? Where are you, like... You want to add upgrades to the truck. That's cool. You want to throw a couple little things, but like bombs that can sense cars and booby traps in the... And this movie goes nowhere. It adds nothing. I will say it kind of does feel like the middle of a movie. So it is between 1 and 2. So technically, I mean, if you put them all three together and you watch 1, 3, and 2, I guess this is the middle of the act. So it kind of feels like middle act because there's really isn't really much of a beginning and there really isn't much of an end. It's just kind of just there and then it's over. And I just, like when it was ending, like when the voiceover came, and I knew that was Trish, I was just listening to like, this is about to end and nothing's happened. That main chick, nothing happened with her. How her fucking jacket got hit, and it tore and it went off and it was still intact, like the arms were still in the thing. How did it come off of her body, hit her, and come off of her body? I mean, that's stupid shit, don't get me wrong. But it's just, when you're upset in a movie, like that shit pisses you off. Like, if I was in a movie that I was enjoying, I could look past stupid stuff like that, but the fact that it ripped her jacket off of her and it was like still fully intact, like, that's not impossible. It's stuff like that that's just, oh my God. I'm not going to bitch about this movie anymore. If you saw it, I definitely want to know your thoughts. I watched a couple reviews on this, maybe like 5, 6 reviews, and like 4 guys were just as annoyed as me. But then there was like 2 that were like, this is actually a pretty good movie. And good for them. I'm glad they had a great time, honestly. I hope people who go and see this love it, but I don't see how. There are movies and franchises that could grow on me. You know, as years go on, you can watch a movie when you're 18, 20 years old and it be shit to you. And then later you can watch it again. I remember that happening with like Halloween 3 and Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 and certain movies like that where they were just so different at the time that I was kind of like, I didn't know back then. I was just kind of like, that's garbage. And then I would revisit like 15 years later, 10 years later, whatever, or 5 years later. And it would just be in a better place and with this and that. And it would be good. That will not happen with this movie. This movie is fucking not good. Shit, this movie is not good. I will never like this movie. Guaranteed. That's how bad it is. So, my rant is over. I don't want to talk about this movie anymore. Whatever. This has been, yet again, like, I had Leatherface, which I didn't like. Houses October Built 2, which I did not like. This, which I hated. I've heard not good things about Cult of Chucky. We've got a few other sequels coming up for big franchises like Saw and, Oh my god. This is not a good year for fucking big franchise sequels, even though we're getting a ton of them. I've not seen many. So anyway, all right, don't see this movie.